The only thing I know about Gabe is that he's incredibly good looking and he's a photographer. This is the place. Hello.
How's it going?
You must be Gabe.
Yes, I'm Gabe.
Nice to meet you. I'm Barney.
Nice to meet Barney.
How are you?
Coming in.
Thank you.
How was your flight?
I was fine.
In today's field test, we've come to Los Angeles to test the Nikon D7200 in the company of Gabe Bienczycki. We'll be heading to the scorching desert outside LA to shoot dancers in a range of different styles and situations, learning about the art of dance photography and doing our best not to get heat stroke.
Alright, so we've just rolled off the road here in the middle of the Badlands. It's 106 degrees, I'm told, and I can believe it. And we're heading out to the desert. We're going to try and scout some locations to shoot the Nikon D7200. So we've got 2 cameras, we've got a bag full of lenses, and a lot of sunblock.
The D7200 is Nikon's high-end APS-C camera. Compared to its predecessor, it has a better RAW buffer, allowing for longer continuous sequences at 6 frames per second, and offers an improved 51-point AF system, with all AF points being sensitive down to -3 EV. Ergonomically, the D7200 is very similar to Nikon's full-frame DSLRs, particularly the D750. Built-in Wi-Fi means that transferring images to a smartphone or tablet computer is easy using Nikon's wireless mobile utility app. As well as 24 megapixel stills, the D7200 can also shoot HD video at up to 60p. A 100% viewfinder and weather-sealed body rounds out a very solid semi-pro feature set.
This is, I guess, we're both out of place in this kind of environment.
You're from Poland and I'm from Northern England, so
right.
I think neither
If it's
of
not
us
raining, it feels wrong.
Gabe is a professional DP and stills photographer. Born and raised in Poland, Gabe is also a classically trained dancer and former member of the Nuremberg Ballet in Germany. After a career in dance, Gabe taught himself photography. These days, he shoots video and stills for several commercial and non-profit clients around the world. He is also a good friend and long-time collaborator of our director, Eric Becker.
I grew up in Poland in a very artistic family. My mother's a painter, my grandfather was an architect, my dad is a nerd, and my mom sort of had me and my brother try everything. He's a jazz violinist now, so she successfully indoctrinated us into an artful life. I went to ballet school and had a reasonably successful career for maybe 15 years. I worked in dance companies all over the world. When I started shooting dance and I sort of approached it from a standpoint of being a choreographer and building a story that is comprised to this one moment in time, I think that's where I got my hours in and I got my experience, and I really paid my dues shooting dancers day and night. I've been fairly faithful to Nikon from the beginning of my photography adventure. My first camera was a D70 and I loved that thing. It's really exhilarating to shoot for free.
Yeah.
The hardest challenge of freelancing is being able to push for what you want to do. You have to create a market for yourself and you have to fight for it every single day.
Our first scenario is a simple portrait session. We'll be shooting our 2 models relatively close up, using a diffuser to soften the harsh light. We're shooting everything in RAW mode, and scenes like this are a great test of the D7200's resolution and dynamic range.
Very nice. Quentin, now let's have you turn your face just a little bit this way. Yeah, that's great. Nice. The most beautiful shot happened to be completely front lit by the sun. And so it would be really hard to supplement it with strobes, to try to combat it in any way. So all we did is just diffuse it. We created a very nice sort of softboxy look, and I hope we achieved it. And looking at the images, there's maybe 10, 15 images that are really striking. Cool, all right, let's move on.
Our second setup is in the same location, but facing into the sun, using strobes to illuminate our backlit models. Gabe is using a wireless trigger to fire the flashes, which, since we're on location, are powered by large battery packs.
He's gonna be here. And here you can be very reserved, just like you are now. It's very nice. The biggest challenge is to dial in the dancer's performance. This is, I think, that comes with experience, to look at those things ahead of time. And then put more energy into your fingers. And there's a dragon behind you, and there's a bunch of naked people. It's totally Game of Thrones.
Because the sun is so bright, we're using a neutral density filter to cut down the light enough to shoot at wide apertures and shutter speeds that don't exceed the D7200's maximum flash sync speed.
So Gabe, I couldn't really see what you were doing there because the sun was so bright on the back of the camera, but what kind of stuff were you getting?
Well, I couldn't see myself either because we're shooting right into the sun through a piece of welding glass. But I was able to see the sort of the halo around, or the corona from behind the sun, so I would basically get sharps off of the highlights in her hair. 1, 2. Nice.
As the sun moves towards the horizon, we put our models together for some backlit still portraits and some video.
So you guys are both, you know, a superhero team that fights crime, and you're just, or like a band, right? You're too cool to notice, so you'll be looking different directions. Quentin, turn your face more to the cars, to your far left. I want to see your profile. 1, 2, beautiful, nice. Okay, relax. That's cool. Ready? Thank you. Cool. I need a little bit of separation. See, that leg is really beautiful, but if you guys were separate, I would see 2 bodies, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
The D7200 is not Nikon's most capable video DSLR, but it can shoot HD video at up to 60p with a 1.3 times crop.
You guys are beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, Gabe, so the sun's gone down now. We've done a lot of the portraits with strobes and some without strobes, and we've shot into the sun, high dynamic range stuff and all of that.
Right.
What's the next thing we're going to try and do?
We're going to give it the most difficult task of tracking an object that's moving towards the camera at high speed, and shoot a burst, see how well each shot is tracked and how well the sharpness is preserved. Cool, thank you. Beautiful.
Nikon's 3D AF tracking is very capable, and thanks to the camera's APS-C sensor, the AF array covers a large area of the image. As you can see, the D7200 does a very good job of following our model as she runs across the frame and towards the camera, even in low light. With the sun below the horizon, I wanted to really test the dynamic range of the D7200 sensor.
I guess I can't do it without a tripod plate. Oh, look at that. So what I'm doing here is I'm underexposing by about 2.5 stops. Really just to make sure I have that color in the sky. I just want to make sure I don't lose that.
Exposing for the highlights to preserve the colors in the sky, I'll pull up the shadows considerably in post-processing. Despite the extreme shadow push, noise levels in these areas remain impressively low, and it's easily cleaned up with some moderate noise reduction.
While Gabe is setting up, I am just going to take some very high ISO portraits of him, because this camera has unusually good autofocus. It can focus down to -3 EV, which is sort of hard to visualize, but we probably aren't too far off that right now. Pose for me for a second, Gabe. Okay, Gabe, so here we are at the end of the day. We've shot through the hottest part of the day. It's now, must be down to now a lovely, cool, refreshing 90 degrees.
I know, it's lovely, right?
We have one final shot to take, so why don't you just explain what it is we're going to do?
Okay, so we lost all the light. It's basically pitch black behind us, but we have this really beautiful landscape that is very haunting if you can see it. So we're going to try to bring out some of that ambient light through a long exposure and combination of long exposure and high ISO. And we'll supplement it a little bit with a wireless speed light system.
All day we've been shooting with and without strobes. The strobes we've been using are big professional strobes, and this is the kind of setup just with speedlight flashes that really anyone can do in just 5 minutes of setting it up.
That's perfect. Okay. The important thing is that for half a second you have to be completely still. I don't see your face. Chin up a little bit more. Okay, 1, 2. Perfect.
I mean, how do you feel about the camera after these hours of shooting out here in the desert?
I'm actually quite impressed. The camera performed really well, and it fits and navigates just like a professional full-frame camera. In terms of user-friendliness and sort of robustness, it performed flawlessly. I'm very impressed.
You were a dancer as well as a photographer, and it was a genuine pleasure to watch you work. That was really impressive.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure, and I've been part of the DP review community for over 10 years now, and I am super chuffed to be now on the other side.
Thank you so much. Your check is in the mail.
Thank you. They all say that. The interaction with talented people, making beautiful things that last, that are permanent, is exciting. It's really great. Coming from an art form that's so ephemeral as dance, being able to commit things to eternity is amazing.